You could buy an asset that cash flow positive every single month and still be one bad month away from losing it. A deal could pay you and still be quietly dangerous. In my most viewed video, I told you to build liquidity before you buy anything. Become your own bank. Capitalize your banking system first, and then borrow from that to go buy your assets. A lot of you agreed with that, but you were honest in the comments. Some of you told me flat out that you didn't think it was possible. And based on the information most of us consume online every single day, I think most people will still buy the asset first anyway. So this video is for you. If you're going to buy before you build liquidity in your cash flow, here's how you do it without burying yourself. It comes down to 4 numbers: cap rate, loan constant, DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, and the break-even ratio. Run every deal through these 4 before you sign, and they'll tell you the truth. Does this pay you, or does it cost you? I'm using real estate as my example today, but these 4 numbers work for any asset you buy for cash flow. If your intentions is to cash flow, use these 4 numbers. It could be a rental property, a commercial building, even a business. If it is supposed to pay you, you run it through these 4 numbers. I'm going to take one property and walk it through all 4. Stay with me because the last number is the one most people get wrong. Before we get into it, my name is Elridge. I've been investing for 11 years. These days, I lend my own money and my capital partners' money to real estate investors. I have about $2 million out in active loans right now. Running these numbers to decide if a deal is safe enough to put my money into it is what I do every week. Here's how most people buy. They find a property they like. The agent says it will rent for a good number. They do quick math in their head. Rent minus the mortgage, and if something is left over, they call it a deal and they buy. That is a mistake. It looks okay, but it's missing 3 things. They only counted the mortgage, not the taxes, insurance, repairs, management, and the empty months that eat the rent first. They never check whether the asset earns more than the money costs, and they never measured how much can go wrong before the deal stops paying them. So they buy, and for a while it works. Then the unit sits empty, or the roof goes, and the deal that looked fine is pulling money out of their pocket. They own the asset, but the asset really owns them. The 4 numbers do the opposite. They answer all 3 of those questions before you buy. Let me show you one, and we're going to do one at a time. Number 1, the cap rate. The first number tells you what the asset actually earns after the real expenses. That is the cap rate. Let's say we are buying a property for $300,000. It rents for $3,000 a month, so $36,000 a year. That is the gross income. Now take out the real expenses: taxes, insurance, maintenance, management, and money set aside for empty months. So that runs, let's say, $9,000 a year. So $36,000 comes in, $9,000 goes back out, and you're left with $27,000. That is your net operating income, your NOI, what the asset truly earns before you borrow a dollar. The cap rate is $27,000 divided by the price or the value, $300,000. That is 9%. Read it like this: if you paid all cash, the property would pay you 9% a year. That is the honest earning power of the asset by itself. Notice what happened. The rent said one thing. The cap rate made you count the expenses first and strip the deal down to the truth. You never buy off the rent. You buy off the net operating income. But a cap rate alone does not tell you if the deal is good. Almost nobody pays cash. You borrow. And the second you borrow, the question changes to this: does the asset earn more than the loan costs? For that, you need the second number. Number 2, the loan constant in the spread. The second number tells you what the money actually costs. Once you count the whole payment, that is the loan constant. The interest rate alone lies to you because your payment is interest plus principal. So the real cost of the money as a percentage is higher than the rate on paper. On our deal, say you borrow 75%, a $225 loan amount, 30 years at 7%. The annual payment comes to about $18,000. The loan constant is $18,000 divided by the loan amount, $225,000. That is about 8%. So even though the rate is 7%, the money actually costs you 8% once you count the full payment. Now put the 2 numbers side by side. The asset earns 9%. The money costs 8%. The gap is the spread. Cap rate minus loan constant, that's 1%. When the cap rate is higher than the loan constant, that spread is positive and you have positive leverage. Borrowing is making you money. The wider the spread, the more cash flow you keep. But if the money costs you more than the asset earns, the spread goes negative, and every dollar you borrow costs more than it makes. You lose a little more every month, and most people never know because they never run this number. This is why debt is heavy. It has a cost, and that cost either works for you or against you. The loan constant tells you which before you sign. So we understanding this so far. The asset earns more than the money costs. Simple, we should be good now. But that does not tell us if the deal is safe. A deal can have positive leverage and still be one bad month from trouble. That is what the last two numbers measure. If this is showing you something you have not seen laid out this way before, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and join our free finance community. The link is in the description. Now the third number, because this is where we stop asking if the deal pays and start asking if it can survive. Number 3. The DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. The third number tells you how safe the deal is. It answers one question: how many times over does the income cover the loan payment? That is the DSCR. The asset earns $27,000 a year. The loan payment is about $18,000. You divide what the asset earned by what the debt costs. $27,000 by $18,000. That is 1.5. The income covers the payment 1.5 times over. For every dollar the loan demands, the property brings in $1.50. You have 50 cents of a cushion on every dollar you owe. Here's why it matters. At 1.0, the income covers the payment exactly. Zero cushion. One repair or one empty month, and you are paying the loan out of your pocket. Below 1.0, the deal loses money every month, and you are feeding it just to hold it. This is why lenders live by this number. When I lend my own money, or if I take on debt to buy an asset, my floor is 1.2. But that is just a floor. Our members inside the community are getting 1.5 and higher. The income has to cover the payment at least 1.25 times over before I get comfortable. Our deal is at 1.5. It clears my floor with room to spare. But the DSCR tells you the deal can survive. It does not tell you how close to the edge you really are. Two deals could both pass, and one can still be far more dangerous. For that, you need the last number, the one most people never run. Number 4, the break-even ratio. The last number tells you the truth. The first 3 can hide. How close to the edge you actually are. That is the break-even ratio. It measures how much of your income is already spent before you make $1 of profit. Expenses plus loan payment divided by the gross income. Whatever is left is your cushion. On our example, $36,000 come in, expenses are $9,000, the payment is $18,000, so $27,000 goes out. Divide $27,000 by $36,000. That is 75%. 75 cents of every dollar is committed before you profit. That leaves 25%. That 25% is your cushion. How much can disappear before the deal stops paying you and start costing you? The ceiling is 85%. I want at least 15 cents of every dollar as cushion. Our deal is at 75%, so we have 25% of breathing room. That is a safe deal. Now watch, because this is the whole reason I made this video. The same property and one thing changed. Instead of 75%, I get greedy and I borrow 90%. Same house, same rent, same expenses. I just put in less of my own money. The cap rate does not change. The asset earns what it earns, but I owe more, so my payment jumps. My loan constant climbs. My spread shrinks. My DSCR falls from 1.5 to about 1.25, barely above my floor, and my break-even climbs from 75% to 85%. Here's the part to catch. On paper, the 90% deal looks better. I put in less cash, so my return on the cash goes up from about 12% to closer to 18%. If all you look at was the return, you would pick it every time. It is not better, it's more dangerous. And only one number tells you that. At 75% break even, you had 25 cents of cushion on every dollar. At 85%, you have 15 cents. You gave away 10 cents of protection to chase a bigger return. And that cushion is the exact same thing that saves you when the unit sits empty or the roof goes. That is how a deal cash flow positive every month and is still one bad month from losing it. It is not that it does not pay. It has no cushion left. The break even is the only one of the 4 that shows you that. And almost nobody runs it. The fix is simple. Your break even runs too hot, put more of your own money in, or bring in a partner and borrow less. Less debt, more cushion. Debt is heavy. The less you carry, the more room you have to breathe when something goes wrong. That is the whole game. Not chasing a bigger return, building a deal so it survives. So let me bring this all the way home. You came in thinking the goal was to find an asset that pays you. The real goal is an asset that pays you and can survive when something goes wrong. The difference is these four numbers. The cap rate showed you what the asset really earns. The loan constant showed you what the money costs so you could find a spread and know your leverage was working for you. The DSCR showed you the deal could carry its own debt. And the break even showed you how much cushion you had when something breaks. That is the shift. You stop chasing the biggest return and start building for cash flow that lasts. This is what it means to build cash flow first. You're not buying a property you fell in love with. You're buying a deal that holds up. And this was real estate today. But these four numbers work on any asset you buy to pay you. In this video, I showed you what to look at. But knowing the numbers is not the same as knowing how to structure a deal so they all come out green. Pulling the right leverage, bringing in the right money, stacking the deal so it's safe and still pays you well. That takes a real walkthrough. That is what we do inside our community. The link is in the description. It's free to join. Come build this with us. If this helped you see a deal more clearly than you did a few minutes ago, hit that like button, subscribe button, and hype button. It helps this reach the next person who needs it. If you have not seen it yet, go back and watch the first video in this series where I break down why I stopped buying assets and I started building liquidity. You can check it out here. This one showed you how to buy an asset the safe way. That one showed you how to get to where you don't have to depend on a deal as much. One last thing, drop this in the comments. Which of the four numbers were you not running before you watched this? Is it cap rate, loan constant, DSCR, or break even? I read these and I want to know which one you were missing. I'll see you on the next video.